So everybody, welcome to
live streaming is on.
All right, James, give me a thumbs up if you can see me on YouTube. All right, well, hello everybody. Welcome to the world from here today. We are meeting live from all over the world. We've got Canada, the United States, we've got Italy, we've got Rome, Daniele Menzi in Rome, president of Fusion STX. I'm Tim Masco, founder and CEO of BlockCerts blockchain, and in the background we've got our camera crew and video crew, Jules from Montreal, who promised he wouldn't say anything, but I love his accent, so you can say hello, Jules.
Hi guys.
Okay, and Andrew Stewart, our director of onboarding. We're excited about today. I'm super excited about what we're going to show you because we're going to talk about the world from here. We're missing Dan Gay. He's not able to join us. Maybe he'll jump in a bit later, but let's get going. The world from here, we're going to talk about algorithm solutions thinking and how we create solutions algorithmically today. And to show that, we've invited our team from around the world. So you'll be joined from Africa, from India, of course, all these people from Europe, the United States, Canada. I believe Quebec's its own country now. And we are going to go through a demonstration of what algorithm business models look like on the platform. So it's an exciting time. I'm going to open up another tab here so I'm ready and I can invite our team on. So give me a moment and let's begin with that. So algorithm solutions thinking, what does that actually mean? And I wanted to get into what impossible combinations are. And impossible combinations and algorithms can most easily be seen by something we're all extremely familiar with, most likely in the world, and that is the Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube was invented in 1975, about 36 years ago, and it has 43 quintillion combinations. So this is the number of possible combinations, and we're going to talk about making the impossible possible. When we used to have our physical office and we weren't distributed all over the world, we had a saying on our wall. James remembers this because we've been doing this for a long time, too long to even admit. And the saying was, the difficult we can do immediately, the impossible will take us a little longer. Let's talk about what impossible combinations are. Impossible combinations are bringing multiple things together and making those things work seamlessly. So if anybody's ever done the Rubik's Cube, you know how difficult it is and how many combinations it takes to get all of those colors all firing on one side. It's difficult to do. If you do, that's in a 3x3 Rubik's Cube like this one. So 3x3x3. If you go to a 7x7x7 Rubik's Cube, this is the number right here of what that looks like. And what we've done with the BlockCerts blockchain platform, the core platform, is taken all of these elements of functionality and made them work together in impossible combinations. Now, the thing I love about the Rubik's Cube, having a Hungarian background, is it was invented by a Hungarian. So when you think about BlockCerts, think about the magic cube, or Buvascocha, which means the magic cube in Hungarian. And the actual problem of the Rubik's Cube wasn't to create a game. It was to solve a structural problem of the moving parts. What we've done with BlockCerts is we solved the structural problem that we have in technology today with all of these moving parts and things we need to do. When you solve this problem and when you remember how to solve that problem of the Rubik's Cube, and here's the calculation for that algorithm, you're actually physically doing an algorithm. Now, there is a way to solve this problem with 20 steps. So we can solve 43 quintillion, that puzzle of 43 quintillion possibilities with 20 steps. The challenge of that is it took 36 years after the invention of the toy to come up with that answer. In our case, it only took us, James, about 23 years to come up with this answer. So not too bad, really. We're like 13 years ahead, right? We took a platform and came up with an answer. People ask us, well, what took you so long? It's not that easy. And today we're going to show you how easy we've made it to do a bunch of stuff all in one. We've talked about the digital dozen. We've talked about all this functionality. We're going to show you today that. But it took 36 years in 2010, after this was invented in 1975, for a group of mathematicians and computer programmers, that any Rubik's Cube can be solved. Any Rubik's Cube, 7-sided, 3-sided, it doesn't matter, in 20 moves. So what I wanted to do is it got me back to, well, 1975, what did 1975 look like? And New York was in a financial crisis. This was the skyline in New York, and a book came out called Fear City. It was an absolute disaster. And look where we're at in 2020 with the pandemic lockdown in Times Square. So things change a lot in a period of time that expands decades. And what happens is we go through cycles, but we eventually come up with better solutions. And that will happen too in the world from here. So when we first started creating the technology, if we lay out and we look at what I would call flat technology, or the centralized services rulers, you can start seeing now what all of those solutions were about. So when we look at, for example, the mobile and app space, we know it's Apple. When we look at the payment space that's been around for a long time, processing besides just credit cards, we know it's PayPal. When we think about our work tools, we know it's Outlook and Excel and Office and so forth, sitting on top of Windows that Microsoft came out with. We look at social media, we know it's Facebook. We look at retail and now cloud services and lots of stuff moving around in that B2C market and now B2B market. That's Amazon. And of course, search and advertising is Google. Problem is the centralized service rulers are under attack. They're under attack because A, they control all of these quintillion combinations themselves. They control all the data. And the first real antitrust suit just came out last week against Google by the American regulators, since Microsoft was under the spotlight for antitrust 20 years ago in the United States. So we know that we've got a situation where A, all of our technologies are pretty disconnected and controlled by centralized service people, and B, it's not really working for where we're at today in a world where we need to be digitally connected on the fly, real time, like we are right now. So what's happening is you're starting to see this new evolution come forward with companies that really, like JP Chase, that poo-pooed and said how bad and what a fraud and so forth Bitcoin and blockchain were 5 years ago, now opening blockchain units and saying how brilliant it is. So isn't it interesting that JP Chase has created and announced just on the 27th, a couple of days ago, that blockchain projects are ready to make money. So 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 2015, 2016, when we started on this journey, I actually started on it in 2013, 7 years ago with blockchain. We saw the potential. We didn't do this overnight. What took us so long? 43 quintillion possibilities, and even more when you look at the underlying technology and possibilities. Large companies are taking a second and third look at blockchain. This is partially because the space has matured and also because the pandemic has refocused attention on problems that blockchains are well positioned to tackle. These include supply chain, digital identity, and distributed computing. We're going to show you just a snippet of how we've done this. We've created distributed computing. You're on it right now. We are running our own video platform. Our recordings are secured, are distributed. We are operating across multiple continents right now. We operate every day across 5 continents, and we run this platform to run our own business. So we knew this stuff already. We were already involved in building the solution with our collaborative economic model or collaborative model with a blockchain, and the model of how you take all these solutions and tools and make them work seamlessly together so you can get the perfect combination in the shortest possible number of moves. That's what we're talking about. We do this as business people every single day. We operate to try and get unique models and unique combinations of how we build our businesses and how we create models so that we are more competitive, more profitable, more productive, more secure. We can acquire more business, more customers, serve more people, add more value. That's the whole idea of being an innovator, an entrepreneur, a business, a creative business is adding value. Now, how do you do that today? And I've said this before, without technology and money. You have to have technology and money together to do that. Around that, you have to have all these processes firing at the same time. So with that, we're going to show you one process, or a couple actually, I think. Daniele's going to show us authentication and identity. And I'm going to show you how we actually sign a document and take that to the world live. So give me a moment. I'm going to pause my screen here and come back with a share that shows you how to share my screen. And tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes.
We can indeed.
Okay, Andrew, are you on?
I am on, yeah.
Okay. So here we are, and we are all on the World From Here Global Cooperation. Okay. You might get a little echo here because we're doing this live with multiple screens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, somebody needs to mute, please. Okay. Okay. I think the echo went away. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sign a document. I'm going to bring a document up that we can all sign together. And it's just going to be a sample NDA document. All right. So pretty simple. We are all talking. There's Joelle in Mauritius and Africa. We've got Tiffany. Tiffany, thank you for joining us today from the United States, beautiful sunny San Diego. We got Daniele in Rome. We've got me. Okay. Obviously, James and Andrew. I'm not seeing you on my other screen. Oh yeah, I am. Sorry. Are you on both of these? And I'm gonna put a document up here, and I'm gonna ask us all to sign it. So we're gonna grab a PDF document. All right. And I'm just gonna drag and drop it from my screen here. So let me do this and find the document here quickly. And I'm going to drag it over here and drop it. Okay. So we're going to upload this document. And now everybody around the world is instantly notified. There's no email going on here. And you're going to quickly see that we're going to show you KYC. So we authenticate everybody, but everybody's already in the system that has it. So here's our non-disclosure agreement. We just loaded the document. I'm not going to fill out anything. We'll assume this is done. And I'm going to go ahead and sign it. You can see I've signed many times down here before. I've saved my signature. And I'm just going to do a quick signature here. And it's going to be Tim Basco. And there you go. And I'm going to confirm my signature. And I've saved it. And I've just signed the document. That's not the only thing I'm going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a date today. And I'm going to let everybody know who's signing this by adding my name because I've already been authenticated on this. Sorry, clicked the wrong button. And I'm just going to grab my name and put it here. Now you can see that it's already knows that it's me. There's no ability for somebody else to sign that. And all of this is being saved and hashed to the blockchain as we go. When I click save here, my document's saving, and I now have a version that is immutable. Now, everybody else that's on this demo has just received that document as well. So I'm going to say, hey guys, just sign this. Hey guys, please sign the document. Now, of course, you can imagine working on this. You can use this to negotiate globally. You can, I can see James is talking to me here and typing up something. There you go. He's signing it now. I think Daniele looks like he's looking down at his keyboard. So I'm guessing he's signing it. And we're collaborating right here with bunch of stuff happening. Like I'd like to point out what's actually going on and what you're seeing. You're seeing us use an IM. Oh, Chitra joined us. Chitra, welcome from India, from Europe, from the United States. I'm in Canada, and we're all working together on the document. There's Andrew, who just signed and updated it. And you can see in real time all of this happening. There's no email going back and forth. There's no fraud. We can see who's signing the document. We know because we KYC'd, which we'll show you a brief moment in a minute, that these are actual valid people. And there's Joelle from Africa. So we've just got a document signed from Canada, Africa, the United States, India. It's all underway, live as we speak right now. There's our document. There's our NDA. And there's Mr. Joel Pascal's signed document, and so forth and so on. So this will build a signature block all the way through as we go with an immutable record of everything that we see as we go through this document. So now we've used video, we've combined signatures, we've combined, document signing, we've combined video, we've combined instant messaging, we've combined an activity tracking model. So I'm going to go back into this and show you what we're doing on the back end, because now you can see all the times we've done this. You can see the versions and the number of versions we've done this. We practiced a little bit before we went on, and there you go. There's everything since we started this earlier this morning at 8:41 and ran it through to today, all hashed, all secure on the blockchain with every version shown. If I go back into this, because I've got editor, I can actually see the people that have been able to get into this and are authenticated in here. I'm the owner, so I can give them certain permissions. I can look at my files, and I can go into that file, and I can see on any one of these the number of versions, the most recent one, and even check all of those versions and roll back to every version that was ever touched or done. It's an immutable record. It's hashed to the blockchain. And because I've got permission to see all of that, no matter what happens, there will never be any change. There will never be any fraud. There will never be anything that doesn't say from the moment we started talking and we opened our activity channel to everything that happened, including this video recording, we know that's an authenticated document. That exists nowhere else in the world. And that is what 43 quintillion possible combinations turned into just a few moves and made simple looks like. So that's a quick example of the power of the BlockCerts platform. A very quick example of what we talk about and what we've been talking about in creating a model for global digital virtual business. We didn't log in multiple times. We created a new model, a new way of thinking, an algorithmic model where we all just switched that around and immediately knew the moves to solve a business problem, which will save billions of man hours, people hours, and challenges of risk and fraud throughout the world. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hopefully you guys are still seeing my screen. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Good. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to ask Daniele to show just really briefly what we've done with Fusion Funder and Fusion SCX. And Daniele, if you can do that,
Sure.
it would be great to.
I can do that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Control.
Okay, so you've got control. Let me stop sharing my screen here.
See my screen?
Can we see Daniele's screen now?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, you see my screen. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep, we can see now.
Here we go. So finally, the baby is born. And so it took quite some time for us to be ready with everything, all the ingredients in the recipe. And we are so excited that right now we can start showing how the platform works. Here we go. So that's the landing page that is reachable by anybody at fusionfunder.com website. So as you see here, we have already started to anticipate the listing of some projects, but obviously you will see, most of the projects that we have started to onboarding will be visible in the next 30 to 60 days. So don't expect to see thousands of projects right now because we are in the process of vetting and due diligence for almost the first bunch of projects. So the process is extremely simple from an end-to-end point of view if you compare with other crowdfunding-like platform. So the principle of this is that at any point in time, the process should be stopped and request an intervention by a manual intervention by support or someone in the back office. The process and the flow should smoothly go from the beginning to the end entirely automatically without any stop. So I will pinpoint the main element of innovation in the platform. So I just clicked on the start listing. So obviously I'm impersonating an entrepreneur that has a company that is willing to raise capital throughout our marketplace. The marketplace, I already mentioned this a few weeks ago. The marketplace is intended to be a matchmaking platform. It is not a platform that is getting money by someone, is giving money by something else. That's for the time being. We want to get the most out of the matchmaking between so-called investors, so broker dealers, and company willing to seek to raise money. So let me show you the very first process and what are the elements of innovation. So very quickly, I will go through the process. So I'm just onboarding myself, entering some basic information. whatever the information are. I will put a fake email address. I don't want to show you any email. So, and I'm going to the next. So here we're asking to set clear objective of a project, like the name of a project, the business of a project, and the goal. Let's go quick through it. And here we give a little bit more information on how we expect to engagement is being evaluated. Measuring a key fundamental assets like technology, people, and capital all together. So here we're asking at which stage of the development the company is, being a startup or a company in business since 1, 2 years, 3, 5, or 5, because these help us to profile the business and to match make with the prospective investors. Let's say this is a brand new company, and here we provide also, just to set expectations, what we're going to do, what are the next steps, very, very briefly. This is the last step. This is the step 6 out of 7 step, where we say that so in this case, the client is going to receive also an ebook where he's going to have a kind of an overview on how the flow is going to work and what are the key success factors in the process. And at the very end, as we've seen before, so now we're doing another step of signing. So I can sign here. I just have to enter a password, XYZ. I can put whatever here. I don't want to go through the email as a test right now. For simplicity, it has to be 6 characters. Okay. And let's put some chimneys here. Traffic lights. Fire hydrant, just to avoid that, this is not fire hydrant. I'm verified. Okay, now I'm going to receive an email, which it's pointing me out to the payment. So right now, and I think we already mentioned, the listing of a project costs $3,000. So it's approximately, at the current exchange rates, 2,500 euro. Okay, so what I can do at this step is I'm interested to list my project. Then I'm going to check out. I'm making the payment. So I have to log in with an email and a password. I'm making the payment, and I'm moving forward. So at that step, I'm onboarded with no strategic or detailed information. So this is pretty similar and as any other platform. So, but from now onwards, then we get to the interesting part. So, which is we have to KYC the person which is onboarding the platform. And the way we start to onboard is
and I'm just gonna, for people who don't know what KYC is in the original, while you're typing that, Daniele, just go ahead. But in the original world of finance, KYC meant know your customer. So these are global rules generally for the financial industry. Healthcare started doing this with patients. We do this at levels now. So we call it know your contact, know your business, know everything about this entity. So again, you are authenticating and ensuring through the blockchain and private keys that whatever happens from here with that contact, in whatever context, that user is authenticated. That user is verified. And we run that against global data checks all over the world. So Daniele is going to show you how simple we made that process. So what you just saw was going from a website to capturing a bit of information about that contact, returning them back to an email, and now taking them through a more involved process of this is really who I am, and I am authenticating that this is me, especially in the case of a business or a project being listed. We've heard of different kinds of fraud on Indiegogo and Kickstarter and things like that. This is intended to avoid those kinds of problems and also to be fully compliant with regulations all over the world. And we can show you why this is important in future webinars, including healthcare, identity, all the things we're going through right now with COVID. Sorry, Daniele, but I just want
we entering into the blockchain. So obviously, you will not, listen to me mentioning to you blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. Because at the end of the day, blockchain has to be run as a commodity, providing a key fundamental value advantage in the way the technology is being engineered. We're going to show you later, perhaps if we have time. For the time being, I just want to show the flow. So here, there is a step at which you have to authenticate using a private key. So you already authenticate an email address. You have received an email to confirm that email is valid. Then you get to the next step, you make a payment, and now you're here. You have to authenticate a wallet, okay? A wallet is a container that sits on the blockchain to authenticate transactions on the blockchain, where obviously we put also a second level, and I will show you in the next step, of identity, the so-called KYC. So we're mixing all those steps together. Seems to be pretty simple and straightforward, but any of those step, which I was just mentioning, it's in the old word, it's a vertical per se. It's extremely complicated to put all those pieces together in a seamless and a smooth flow as we're doing. So here I just enter my private key that protects my wallet against theft, against hacker, because I can have 1 million worth of token, or I can have sensitive data into my wallet. So I just want to make sure that no one is hacking it, okay? The private key is meant to avoid any type of hacking attack. So right now, I'm just uploading my documents. So in this case, I'm being asked to upload a selfie. I'm using James because we already tested James many, many times here. James will be happy. We're using his documents there.
You're famous, James. Making you famous.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Then I'm entering the driving license, back and forth. So the back. And then I'm entering close. And then I'm entering the front. I've done the opposite, doesn't really matter. Upload. Okay. No, sorry.
That's okay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I enter personal information. I save it. Okay. Now I submit for verification. Obviously, those data have been checked many times into the KYC. So, James obviously is not associated to my identity under which the test account is being created. So my identity is Daniele Menzi, and I'm uploading the document of James, which obviously doesn't work. So, but I just wanted to show the KYC process. How does it work? So at the end of this, so we're doing through. So
let me just point out something. So what happened is this just failed. It didn't authenticate James. It didn't authenticate Daniele. It didn't authenticate him against his initial entry point, because we already knew going through the credit card process, this is Daniele Menzi. And we also look at two backs of a driver's license. Personal information doesn't match. We never even got that far.
Yeah,
this is already
it's good that so right now we have a person which, for whatever reason, is entering wrong information. And obviously, this person cannot go through in the process. So this means if you get to the end of the process of being listed to Fusion Funder, all those checks are consistently verified, and the person with whom we are dealing with, and also the broker dealers with whom we're working and we're talking to, have a legitimate counterparty to whom to talk to, okay? So this is of a fundamental importance when it comes down to matchmake, especially in an online platform like ours. You don't compromise the fact that you know with whom you're dealing with. Because if you avoid this step, then anyone can represent and eventually try to scam or to create an environment of opportunities to raise fake money on behalf of someone else. So it's
an example of that, Daniele, would have been when Wells Fargo, one of the biggest banks in the United States, their employees created millions of fake accounts.
Correct.
Right? This would have never happened using the system that we've created at BlockCerts to allow those kinds of elements to occur. So the world needs digital financial standards. It needs digital standards in general. It needs identity. And the important thing that I want to point out here is all of that information that you just saw Daniele enter, even though it wasn't validated, once it is validated, it's locked by a private key. So if you saw all of those things we were doing when we were signing a contract and all that log and version, we see all that exact same stuff here, and we can lock it out. Yeah. So identity theft, a lot of the things that we've experienced in the 43 quintillion possibilities, even more, of the internet, we have solved and brought down to these simple steps you're watching here today.
Yeah, and especially in the B2B environment. So people tend to authenticate the B2B, so the company with whom they're doing business with. But the most common fraud in B2B, it's company impersonation. So in fact, you steal, because B2B company information is public. You can find data into any trade register in the world. Most of them are publicly accessible. And then you steal, for example, that BlockCerts directories, Daniele or his team. And then you might impersonate that company to fake someone else on the other side of the bench. So to avoid this, it is key to validate the identity of the person having power of attorney or having having the right role in the company to act on behalf of. And you cannot escape this step. It has to be mandatorily executed before project. It might receive any type of interest by whoever into the investment community. It's a legitimacy check that is a must-have that no one is doing as we are doing it.
So maybe open the application and just show this quickly, and I think we'll keep moving. But the other thing is, think about how we used to work in the physical world. When somebody came into the office, whether it was an employee, so we use this for employee onboarding. What are the policies and procedures? Do we want our teams to have access to this? We're working on one for clinical trials right now. So clinical trials, to make sure that all that information is confidential. In this case, what we're doing is we're taking all this information in on the business, and then that will validate against where this company says they are set up, they are established. Are they actually live and licensed in that jurisdiction? Things like that. So all of that validation is now done, and people coming in, whether they're investors, they're matchmakers, they're regulators, whatever, can see the entire process from start to finish, from the moment they hit the website all the way through the process that was validated here. We're now getting into a realm of where all of this, and as Daniele mentioned in the beginning, and he kind of glazed over it, starts changing the way we do things in the world. Real-time regulation. You don't get to go any further and create a problem if you haven't properly answered the information in the first place. This registration that he's continuing through already has a big red flag on it saying that KYC doesn't match the information we received. You saw that. There's a verifier in the back end that will say, uh-oh, that doesn't match there. It goes no further. It goes to a verifier, a human, or what we call human intelligence tasks, to say, was that a mistake, or is this just not qualified?
Yeah, that's correct. So, but in any case, we manage here to continue the process. But obviously, when it comes down to an application like this that did not pass the KYC, obviously, the project does not qualify to move forward. So eventually, it might be kind of checked again unless it's being discarded at not being able to move forward. And here, that's the last step of the process. Actually, the company, so the entrepreneur, should enter the key information to describe the project from a market point of view, from the solution, product, whatever, competition, competitive advantage, and marketing strategy, all those informations are so relevant for people willing to eventually consider an investment in the company, because there are a bunch of key sensitive informations that are being used for us to matchmake potential interested party. Okay, so the process here, it takes from an entrepreneur, it takes probably a couple of hours, because you have to enter a lot of informations. Without this, obviously, we cannot consider that project. And at the very end, so there is again a step at which the customer should sign, because this is a signature that certifies here that the data being fulfilled, being entered here, are accurate. On the no ground, we as a company taking liability out of those data being uploaded by the company itself is liable for any information. From our standpoint, obviously, we have to verify through KYC and the consistency checks, which I've just shown, that the flow is consistent, but the data that the company is showing, for example, the projected revenues, are definitely responsibilities of a company, and the company is liable in case of misbehavior. So I've just shown the process. That's the end-to-end.
Yeah. Thanks, Daniele, for doing that. And so now that we've shown you what can be done, we've shown you video, we've shown you the signing of a document, we've shown you the version control, we've shown you instant messaging. Daniele, if he's involved, or one of his team members is involved in onboarding this company, if you have an HR department, if you have a customer that you're going through a contract with, this is one version of a way you can instantly digitally collaborate. And we showed you how you can digitally collaborate anywhere in the world. That's what a digital business rubric looks like. That's what collaboration rubric looks like. When you're doing that all in one place, tracking it all, and making it immutable from a perspective. So that's the idea behind all of the elements in a single secure virtual space technology that we've created and invented at BlockCerts, and bringing it on to the blockchain and why we use blockchain. Daniele didn't even talk about blockchain there any more than if he was with Netflix and he's trying to show you a movie, he would say, and here's how we created the encryption or the compression technology to do that. We can certainly tell you that. If you really want to geek out with us, I love that stuff. But that's not the point. The point is that we have taken this massive amount of functionality that we all need today to run our lives and our businesses, this massive amount of privacy and security, and we've made it simple. We've made it easy and secure to do. And so, getting back to that and talking about what you just saw, let's go back to what JP Morgan says. And I love this quote. JP Morgan is focused on relieving the pain points in the world of wholesale payments. One thing, specifically areas where the industry could save hundreds of millions of dollars with a better solution. Well, guess what? That problem exists throughout the world. It exists in supply chain. It exists in finance. It exists in healthcare. It exists in your day-to-day business contracts, whether you've got a contractor coming to your house to do some work or you're signing up for a new mobile phone. All of these documents are passed around electronically by the billions, and there's a lot of problems. It exists in mortgage banking. It exists in borrowing money, and we're bringing a solution out for that. You've already heard us talk about the solutions that need to be there for things like CBD and cannabis. You've heard us talk about solutions for telehealth. That's what it means. This idea of decentralizing is the second big component of that. In finance, it's being called DeFi, or decentralized finance, so that no one entity like a Wells Fargo can create fraud and create millions of accounts to pump up their books. It happens at the biggest levels And that's what caused so many problems in 2008 when we did have a global meltdown. So DeFi was the beginning. It's now extended through BlockCerts across the board for all of these different fabrics. Even this, do we want to share our recorded videos and our information in a centralized service, or do we want to decentralize that and have more controls and control our private channels and make sure that all of those things are secured and documented? So that's our digital virtual universe today. Like the face masks, facial recognition, things like that are not going to go away. This is with us for a while. This is the world from here. We've talked about the world from here. We started this series in March at the beginning of the pandemic. We're now showing you the solutions to how we deal in a hybrid digital world. We're going through a third wave, a second wave, hopefully not a third wave of the COVID pandemic. We're going to be looking at distributing very soon, hopefully at some point, a vaccine and solutions. It's been incredibly difficult. We need a better way to think. We need to think outside the box of what we've been locked into and start building new algorithmic solutions that allow us to model and mold quickly so we can adjust our world. We started that with video, and it was a brilliant start, but it was just the beginning. It doesn't solve the fundamental problems. Why can we do this? You've heard me say this before. Millions of man hours, millions of people hours, and lots of sleepless nights, which my friend James there will attest to, because we still talk last night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, all the time. We talk to our teams all over the world. We talk to each other. We don't sleep. We haven't slept because we want to deliver a platform that can handle 43 quintillion solutions and make it easy for people to deal with.
Tim, can I say something there? But if you think about it, I mean, in the era of pandemic where we are, there's a tremendous growth in terms of technology. Think about Zoom, right? But still today, you cannot sign a document while you video talking to someone. Today, you can do it. You can use, the Google Suite. You can use Zoom. You can do anything. You just need to have a mix of many tools that eventually you have to download and you have to pay for it. Adobe, because you didn't mention before, but we were editing a PDF.
That's right.
Other people are able to do it. So to me, there are tremendous advancements in technology, but there are some fundamental steps like this one. It's not simple, but it should have been already done. It's like what I don't get, why there's no video cameras on the TV still now. And we are exactly on the same side of the coin. So thanks God, we're taking steps there.
So it takes a long time to figure out a formula. So what is the formula? There's a theorem, and a lot of things were done wrong. Even some of the leading economists, like Paul Krugman, said what economists got wrong, including me, about globalization. There's a theorem. Fermat's last theorem, actually. It took 358 years to solve this theorem. And what it says is that for integers n greater than 2, the equation cannot be solved with positive integers. Well, eventually, this was solved in 1995 by a mathematician called Andrew Weil. So what is the formula we're talking about here, really? What is this infinite formula that creates these algorithmic thinking and algorithmic solutions? It's a virtual future that has distributed technology plus capital markets, how the financial world and economics work, plus identity, plus all of that healthcare and social responsibility we have, plus our life data to the nth degree. That's our formula at BlockCerts. That's our theorem. That's what this platform does. It combines all of those elements into an algorithmic model that can be set forth for any business, whether it be a supply chain or an economic model. So we've always followed this philosophy of this gentleman, Dr. Albert Einstein, who says, make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. We've worked very hard to make this as simple as possible. It couldn't have been made simpler. It couldn't have been made quicker. We've gone through, and we still go through every single day, new elements and new, I saw James smile there, and every single night, and new challenges on what can be done, what should be done, and how we should do it. So when we're at BlockCerts and we're talking to you about the world from here in the future, you now know this is how it happens. You've seen a few things. You've seen the digital identity. You've seen the idea of how we can create documents and track them, how we can create identities, how we can secure that. We will show anybody at any time how we do this. Honestly, our website's a little bit behind where our technology is. We're standing up a new app store right now. Our signups aren't as great as they should be. We've been really working hard to do that. If you want to get in touch with us, please visit BlockCerts.com. Go to BlockCerts. Join the movement. Get some tokens. Get some of this technology that you can use, you can play around with, or just contact us, and we'll be happy to take you through how we can help your world from here. That's what we're about. That's our mission. And I think we're out of time. I think we started a little bit late, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined us from around the world. We had the United States, we had Canada, we had Europe and Rome, we had Joelle in Africa, and it's quite late there in Mauritius, Africa. We have Chitra, and I think she's still with us, so thank you for staying up late on a Friday night. And not only is it Friday night, it's Halloween tomorrow. So happy Halloween, everybody. Dress up, have fun, take your kids out trick-or-treating, wear a mask, and do one thing for all of us. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay digital, stay at home, and don't let the world get in the way of your opportunities out there. That's what BlockCerts here to help. We've got the algorithm, we've got the formula, we've got the platform, and we're here to make sure that the world from here is a better place. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate your time, and we know how valuable it is. We'll talk to you next week, 9:30. Join us on Telegram, BlockCerts.com, and follow us on BlockCerts Buzz on Twitter, or follow me, Tim S. Vasco, on Twitter. I'm not there as often as I should be, but we will be in the future. Thank you, everybody.
Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. Thank you.
Click the bell if you like this, and subscribe. Thank you, James. Click the bell. That's right. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a good day, wherever you are in the world.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.